Hey, Ezekiel and Victoria. Anybody else that wants to watch? Hi. Yeah, I'm sitting in my bed. It's Saturday morning. I've just been up drinking coffee and I have a cup of tea now. And I've been preparing this letter for Mr. Mnuchin. It's a notice of fiduciary relationship. Yeah. Um, so, I'm going to put the camera down now and just do an audio and kind of go over what I'm doing, what I have been doing, and I might go on some rants. You never know. Okay, I love you guys so much. I'm setting this free, period. All right. Anyway, my notice of fiduciary relationship to Mr. Mnuchin, who will be getting my packet next week, I would imagine. Um, I have written just a short letter that says, Dear Mr. Mnuchin, it is with a heavy heart I write to you. A great fraud has been perpetrated against me and my family through patenting and copyright processes and the use of fictional characters. Please find a copy of my authenticated birth certificate whose original is available to view upon request. Also find an endorsed certified copy of the record of live birth. My claim is indemnified under the subjugation by private registered indemnity bond number RR4286662671 US, invoice number KFS07181960 IBL, with the backup bond of AMR I00001 and payment bond AMR1 or AMRI is what it looks like 00003 and RA39342 7653 US. Please settle all accounts for the persons Catherine Faye Swilly, Catherine F. Swilly, these are all capital letters by the way, Catherine Faye McLean, Catherine Faye Williams, and any fictitious names associated with the number 521904117, and the Treasury Direct Account number E915666809, whose record of live birth number is 1491960-004654, located on the bond and banknote provided. I look forward to receiving information pertaining to our heritage as the heirs of our forefathers and mothers. This is a process to correct the records for the living sentient being on the land. Catherine Faye, Swilly, all lowercase. The beneficiary, executor, secured party creditor, holder in due course, bailer, impropria persona, sui juris, grantor and creditor of the estate. I authorize you to make any and all corrections needed in this process. Mr. Mnuchin may work directly with the Internal Revenue Service to settle all accounts, past, present, and future. Your communication in this process is required and appreciated. So, that's my letter that's going to be going off to the Secretary of the Treasury. Mr. Mnuchin is who I understand is the new person who holds those reins. And what I'm doing, you guys, is, all right, when you were taken, I went through some learning curves. You know, I know that you were told all kinds of things. I know that your minds were manipulated. You were put under threat, fear. I don't even know what has happened, and they don't want me to know. But I trust that we will be able to eventually be in a calm environment where you can tell all, okay? And I will be telling all as well. However, part of the process of what I'm doing requires me and you to move into what is called the private, okay? You wouldn't know what that means, but when your birth certificate is created, they create the fictional character that begins the whole fraud. Okay, so once that fictitious name is created in the all capital letters, they use that as a banknote and bond, and they pledge the country's debts against those bonds, making you a forever debtor. And a debtor is like being a sinner, okay? A debtor is like being incompetent and, well, we're considered incompetent and wards of the state. And as you go through life, you know, the things that you're supposed to be taught by the time you're 18, well, your parents don't know. You know, we did not know about this fraud that was being perpetrated against all of us. But through my studies of how things work and how they were able and why they were doing it and so forth, because nothing was making any sense of what they were doing. Okay, you guys, it was like I'm not even dealing with human beings here. These strangers that suddenly inserted themselves into our lives and just took over. It was all wrong. And when I challenged the courts on their authority and what they were doing, they retaliated. And yes, I did challenge them over the legal entity name, because that's really the problem here. They have used your legal names, which are attached to a trust account, basically, or a bond, or whatever. It's a money thing. They start hitting those bonds, and it's kind of like a gambling thing, which you guys wouldn't know what that's like because you've never been exposed to a gambler or anything, or you really don't know about those things. You weren't old enough to have been taught any of the things that you need to be knowing now. Anyway, doesn't matter, okay? I'm so pissed off that I get angry whenever I have to go over any of this stuff. I'm hanging on, you guys, for you, okay? I'm doing everything that I'm doing for you. And that has been an incredible process of many, many things, okay? Which, learning how the laws worked and learning how our world got the way that it did, and what the motivation was behind all of it. And it's money, and greed and power of a few. And that's another thing that they didn't want you to know. And they didn't want you to know about all of the ugly stuff. This is what your dad was trying to impart to me, and how he knew it, I didn't know. He was never really able to clarify how he knew the things that he did, but he was trying to impart information to us about things that were going on in the world that people need to know about. And people don't want to know about it. I didn't want to know, you guys. I didn't want to know about the horrors that were going on in our world. Well, anyway. Indeed, it was necessary for me to get a good picture of what was going on. And really, I feel really bad for your mother and what she's gone through. And I consider her to be just a total victim of the system. She's a product of the system, and she's a victim of the system. I'm sorry. Anybody that doesn't extend that kind of grace out to children who have been subjected over and over and over again to the fucking abuses of this system, you're just not going to be okay. I hope that the foundation that you have with the loving bond that we have together helps you. It's supposed to. You should have much more of an advantage than many other kids your age that this kind of thing has happened to or is happening to. That's the thing, you guys. As I was learning, I also was listening to other parents and people around the world who are experiencing the same things and worse. And knowing that there are kids out there that don't have a single soul, not one person on the outside of where they are, under this criminal control. There's so many that nobody even knows about. It's heartbreaking. Of course, my heart couldn't be more broken than to sit here day after day and wonder what they're doing to you, wonder what's going on. You know, they've planted all kinds of crap in your head. I thought your comment about the food was pretty funny. You know, you wasted more food. You wasted more food, little girl, than you ate. And I was trying to teach you about that. You know, don't waste our food because it's expensive, and it is. And, you know, I'm not the government. I don't have all the resources that those foster parents have and whatnot. And we moved, and we had a lot of things happen in our life. You were too young to comprehend what the impact of all of it was, and I needed your help more than what you were able to give, which I had to try and put into proper perspective too, by all means. That's why I used to let you go, Victoria. And we would actually clean up after you because you were just hyper. And sometimes you just had a hard time dealing with that kind of thing, and I understood it. I never thought of it as there was anything wrong with you. You were perfectly capable of doing everything that you needed to do. That's where it did fall back on me. I wasn't, okay? At that time, I was in the final process, or final stages of the process of grieving, and that did include fulfilling some promises I made to your dad, and those weren't easy promises to fulfill, but I did, and I'm done, and that's just the way that goes, you know. It was information that I needed to know, and I wasn't willing to look at, okay, when he was alive. And pretty much nobody was. But I've done it, got it. I realize a lot of things now that I didn't before. So it's been actually a really good experience. You know, some people, I guess, could view it as negative. A lot of it was very spiritual, and it was private. It was private. You and your brother are the only ones that really needed to be privy to anything that was going on. It was a temporary thing. My weakness was a temporary thing. Yes, the grieving was absolutely horrible, but it was necessary, and it was a lonely journey, and I couldn't shield you from it. I tried. I couldn't do it. So we're family. That's what families do. You know, they go through things together. Okay, they don't get ripped apart like it's wrong. You know, there's nothing wrong with going through a grieving process. It was private and nobody's business. I'm sorry that they got up into all of our business. I'm sorry that this happened. I didn't anticipate that anything like this would actually take place. So, my bad. I should have known right away, and I guess I didn't. I wasn't adequately prepared. I didn't know that these guys were a criminal organization that are doing extortion and racketeering and identity theft, and the crimes are unsurmountable. Okay, that will be coming out too. But right now, what I'm doing is correcting all of our accounts, which will also affect these criminals. Okay, it's what I have to do, and it's what I have to do to set us all free. Okay, because they'll never stop. They will never stop with me, and they will never stop with you if I don't stop it here, now, and preserve as much of your lives as I can. Is really, you know, I mean, geez, you're 13 and 14. And I am just mad as hell that you aren't here. I'm mad as hell that your birthdays were stolen from us, all for these criminals. Anyway, I'm not going to go down that road any further, all right? Because they've got, you know, the cops and the education system, and they're all involved, the doctors, blah, blah, blah. It's a big fraud. It's been played on mankind. It's evil. It's all done through the birth certificate to begin with, okay? Then more accounts are created through your social security card, and I have all this stuff for you, you guys. Our birth certificates right now are probably on their way back here, and they're beautiful. I've been doing this process of authenticating them. This is part of my gift to you. One of the just part of a process, okay? And that process is my gift to you, actually. Anyway, proving that we are alive on the land and not the fictitious character, the all capital letter name that is used for banking and used for commerce. Okay, it's called a transmitting utility. It's a commercial instrument that is used to fund the activity on the planet, really. Okay, so, which, there is beauty to how the system works. However, not in the way that it's being used right now, which is incorrectly and harming everybody. So, the thing is that credit belongs to you. You're not the debtor, you're the creditor. Okay? The credit that is being used is your credit. And it's your human energy. You might remember, Ezekiel, me telling you to remember that you are the value, not silver, not gold. It's your human energy, and this all ties into it. That human energy is pledged through the birth certificate and through deceit when you're born. I've gone through all of this, you guys. It's a fascinating study, and when you do finally get home, I'll be able to lay all of these documents out that I've done and show you the path that I've taken, which people are asking me to start going through, kind of like a step-by-step thing of what all I have done. Because I've lost track, honestly, of some of it. I have to go back and look. I had to remove myself and remove you at the same time from the roster as the United States corporation. And that's a whole nother thing. These corporations just got carried away and started using these commercial instruments to fund their operations. And without the people knowing it, and the people being considered incompetent, infants, wards of the state, enemy combatants, dead, were considered dead too. Lost at sea, that's part of the authenticating the birth certificates. It's a whole thing that you need to learn about eventually. Anyway, we're considered all these crazy things and don't even know it. They took over the education system. They took over the doctors. The vaccinations are horrible. You'll have effects from that, or you might not. Actually, the Rh negative bloodlines don't have as many effects from certain things, and I'm not sure what that's about. But since we all do have that blood type, which is another big deal, another reason you were taken, another reason you were stolen, I have no doubt there's archons on the horizon that want that information or something, but who knows, because, God, Ezekiel, you're going to love some of this stuff because it involves the Anunnaki and the Pleiadians and the giants on the earth and all these things that actually play into it, and you're going to love it. One of the things that I do sometimes is get into your position with your leg crossed over your knee and your, fingers together in your meditation state. I don't know where you learned that, dude, but you guys are just awesome. Some of the things that you taught me and that you were teaching me, and I was loving it. And we would have been fine if you wouldn't have been taken. We would have. Okay? Really. There would have been no devastation. Nobody would have gotten hurt. Nobody would have died. So you were really, as a matter of fact, starting to take things very seriously with this, with these imposers and imposters who inserted themselves into our world. Anyway, I have ultimate faith, you guys, that all of this is going to work out fine in the end. And I love you. And we're going to be okay. All right? Yeah, I know. I look tired, right? I am. Just about have this letter done. Then I have to go through some steps and processes of how I need to mail it off. Anyway, I love you guys.